Welcome back to the Anagame series. In this video, we will look at the bottommost library, TrecLib. TrecLib provides the following resources: TObject, the root object class in Anagame; TString, Anagame's dedicated string class; TrecPointers, smart pointers used throughout Anagame; TFile, Anagame's dedicated file class; TFile shell and TDirectory, objects that can provide you with information about a given file or directory; directory interface, a series of functions to provide the paths to common directories such as home or documents, etc. T-shell, an object that processes commands and can even run new shell-based processes. TObject node, a node interface that allows for easy tree construction that higher-up libraries can use. Readers and parsers, a means of processing TML files and other markup languages. TObject, as stated earlier, is the root object in all of Anagame. If you are writing a class in some library and you wish for that class to be accessible to an Anagame-based interpreter, you would need to have your class extend the TObject class. There are two main methods introduced by TObject. One such method is the getVariableValue string, which returns a string representation of the provided variable, provided to allow for easy data binding. The other is TOString, which is inspired by Java's version, though to be fair, it's also used in C#. The TString is a string class that uses wide characters to hold its data. It does provide a method to return a standard C++ string version of itself. I'm not going to go over every single method supported by the string class. That will require a separate video that I would definitely get bored watching myself. I will say that I added additional methods and features to standard string methods to help with code parsing, such as the ability to find characters or strings only outside of known quotes. TrecPointers already have a video dedicated to them, so there's not much else to say here except I should have left a card on the screen to the video on such pointers. The TFile class was written while Anagame still used MFC. The initial motivation was that the existing C-archive class I was using expected text files to be used in Unicode, and sometimes I ended up saving the files in ASCII. Needless to say, I wanted a file class that could detect the encoding being used and adapt accordingly, and provide an easy means to report whether the file is even open or not. One last piece of advice: if or when you create a TFile object and need to open a file with it, use the flags provided by the TFile class as shown below. The open method will convert the flags according to the OS Anagame was compiled for, chiefly Windows for now. The TFile shell TDirectory was born out of a need to easily traverse the file system. If you can get a valid path to a file, then you could get a Trec pointer to a TFile shell. If the file happens to be a folder, it will actually get a TDirectory and you can get a list of files within that directory. If you're wondering how to obtain a valid path, TrecLib provides the directory interface module, which is a series of functions that return common paths to locations, such as the user's home directory, documents, music, video, pictures, etc. It also provides shadow directories, which can be used to store temporary information, such as a source file with the comments filtered out. A final function worth mentioning is the forge directory function, which can be used to ensure a certain directory path, if built properly, exists. T-shell is an object written to intercept commands and process them before returning output to a higher level object. Certain commands, such as Anagame-specific commands or cd and pwd, are intercepted and processed by T-shell itself, but others are then used to create a new process, the output of which the T-shell can capture and present to any object using it, chiefly Anaface's tprompt control. The TObject node is an interface for managing trees and is used to present tree-based data to the control using it. It can report whether the node can have child nodes, whether it does have child nodes, how many, and can retract them. While subclasses of the TObject node were intended to be provided on a case-by-case basis, the TFile node is provided by the TrecLib library. Since file browsing is a common task, that it made sense to provide a node-based class here. It takes advantage of the TFile shell class. I then want to talk about parsers and readers. Reader objects read the file directly, and they make calls to the parser object to process what the reader picks up. For instance, the TML reader would read a TML file line by line and call methods provided by the parser to process whatever objects and/or attributes are in the file. TrecLib also provides containers. The two most common are the TData array and the TMap. TData array is your dedicated array class and can be used to hold raw data together in compact ways. It is fairly straightforward. The TMap uses TString as its key. It also allows duplicates of the key, and you can specify which object of the same key you want using the occurrence parameter, which is indexed at 0, meaning 0 would give you the first occurrence of the key match, 1 the second occurrence, and so forth. Other aspects related to this library that I'll delve into in a later video are issues, i.e. improvements that could be made, and other classes that may become deprecated soon. In the next video, I will discuss the video graphics library.